gonna now get to hear from our first speaker of the night, Virginia Kerr. She is the queen of helping you understand the real you. It is my pleasure. Help me welcome Virginia to the stage.
I'm the fun one. I'm the one that does the strangest things, but I make the most friends. I'm the one that just tells it like it is and doesn't care what people think. That's me. So here's the deal. 30 plus years ago, Virginia buried me. She was embarrassed of me because I was a little off. And we didn't get back together till a couple years ago. And that was a God thing. So tonight, we're going to show you how we made that happen. But I wanted to come out here. She doesn't know I'm out here. I wanted to come out here and speak to all the real yous in there who are buried by your person who's not letting you out. It is not too late. We did this at the age of 45. So you can do this. Okay. Oh, she's coming. All right. Oh, she's wearing heels. This could get ugly. Oh, and if she cries, that's just me keeping it real. Okay. What are you doing? I cannot believe this is the first time I've spoken in public in 2 years, and you have to be here and crash it? Oh, please. You know they're not going to like you if I'm not here. Whatever. Why would you wear your hair like that in your robe? That is atrocious. It is what we wear every day. Hello? This is what we really look like, and you're going to put those heels on, and you're going to fall on that stage because it is slippery. I am telling you. Just give me the microphone. Ugh. Okay. Now keep it quiet. Let me do my thing. Hi. So you met the real me. She's a treat. Okay, so we're gonna get down to business tonight. I've got lots of notes for you, and you can take screenshots so that you can apply these assignments to you. Okay, are you ready? Sorry, that was really embarrassing. Okay, so here's what we're doing tonight. We are going to learn how to stop comparing ourselves to other people. Does that sound good? Yeah. And we're going to learn to embrace the real you. I'm not saying you're not gonna not like her sometimes, but we're going to find her and we're gonna bring her out. Sound good? Yes. Okay, this is how we have to do this. We have to become self-aware. We have to find the real you. And we have to play and explore. That is the fun part, but I find that's the part that's the hardest for a lot of us, especially women, because we're wearing all these hats and we feel like we have to keep it a certain way, and we're not allowed to play anymore because we're over 30. That's not true. We'll get to that. So first, let's talk about becoming self-aware. So this is the me that I thought if I could be this person, I would find my self-worth, everything would be great, and I would finally be happy. Please note the picture on the right. That's me at 24, first job in television in Missoula, Montana, and I looked scared to death because I was. I also hated having my picture taken. That would continue for years and years. And then the one on the left, I would get into it with this guy on commercial breaks because I was that guarded and controlling that if anything went awry that I wasn't ready for, I got angry. And I always made it about the other person. It was always their fault. I always played the victim. I didn't know I did this. This is what becoming self-aware is all about. You start to see what you're really doing, not what you think people are doing to you. So that was the beginning of me becoming self-aware. Not really, actually. This was before I even had my son, so that was over 10 years ago. But I can look back now and see what I was doing there. So this is the part where you want to take some screenshots. So I had to do this just over 2 years ago when I was on the brink of a nervous breakdown because I had lived that person that you just saw for so long trying to impress people, and it was wearing me down. Because when we are constantly trying to put on a show and act like somebody we're not, it's exhausting. It's not natural. And we find ourselves saying yes to things we don't like. We find ourselves saying yes to anyone who asks us to do anything just because we want to be liked. And that will cause you to break down. So, what are you doing for show? What are you doing just because you're hoping it will impress people? Is it buying certain clothes, having certain things at your house, having a certain car? Not that these things are bad, but if we just do these things and put so much value in these things, we'll never find our self-worth because we'll always be thinking we've got to fill up that void Katie was talking about. Next, how are you numbing and living on autopilot? That's the shopping, that's the eating, that's the drinking, that's the gossiping, that's the working, that's the social media, that's anything and everything that keeps your focus off of your thoughts, your fears, your anxiety, your shame. And when you numb enough, you start living on autopilot, and you just go through the motions of life, and you're not living life. Life is not about what your life looks like, it's about how you live your life. And if we're living on autopilot, how are we supposed to do what we're supposed to do on earth and live our purpose? Next, do you really like your everyday life? Now, I know there's some things that are just hard as humans, but then there's the people who they work these jobs or they stay in these relationships, like I had 100 of them before I got married, because they just want to be liked and they're so afraid of the unknown and they just accept it, living on autopilot. Do you like your everyday? Or maybe you don't like your everyday because you're numbing so much. And the numbing only numbs for so long, and then you start to feel the feels, and then you got to numb again. And it's a terrible cycle. It's why people become addicted to drinking, to eating, to working, to anything that keeps them checked out. Are you playing the victim? Do you take ownership and responsibility for certain situations? Now, these are things you're going to have to think about for a while. You're not going to answer all this tonight. But these are the things that I was journaling during my daily devotionals. Are you going all in on your talents and gifts that God gave you? Do you even know what those gifts are? Do you even think that you have any talent? Because you do. It's just that sometimes we don't recognize our gifts because we're so busy comparing ourselves to other people and looking at what they have and we don't have. When did you stop being that carefree child and living all out you? Do you even know? Again, these are the things I had to ask myself. But before we get into where we go next, here's a reminder from God. Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Isn't it fascinating when you look back at your life and you see the seasons of pain, but then you see where the doors were open and where people crossed your path, and you know that that would have never happened had you not gone through that season. All of these seasons, all of these chapters are preparing us for the next chapter, preparing us for God's purpose for you. And sometimes He created you a little weird so that you could connect with some other weird people. Your personality is not a flaw. It is part of the design. And when you go against that and try to be something you're not, now you are an imposter. You're a fake. And how are you going to connect and find the people that you are meant to help and who are meant to help you if you're always trying to be someone you're not? So now we got to find the real you. Whoo! She's a doozy. So the first thing I did when I decided I didn't know who I was is I had to remember who I was before life got complicated. What do I mean by that? Well, that could be anything from a death. That could be maybe your parents got divorced. Maybe you got divorced. Maybe there was some traumatic thing that happened and you were separated from your family. Maybe it was bullying at school. Maybe it was a humiliating experience. It's always different for everybody, and sometimes it's not just one thing. But can you think back in your life and pinpoint when life got complicated? What do I mean by complicated? I mean you really became aware of other people's opinions. You started to stop basically speaking your voice and your truth because you didn't want to be too much. You didn't want to offend anyone. You didn't want to look odd. You didn't want to look different. You wanted to make sure everybody knew that you had it together. Now, we all do this to different degrees, but when was it? And the other thing I ask myself is, what was I doing before this happened to really shed light on how I changed? And that was, for me, dressing up in characters, wearing wigs, having pretend commercials in the bathroom. I was weird. Then I still am. But I was so embarrassed of that I always wanted to look like Sally News Anchor, the very credible, well-spoken reporter, when really that was a fake. That girl you saw on the news set was a very sad news anchor because, again, pretending to be something I wasn't. Now, did I really care about journalism? Did I love to tell stories? Yes. Was I fascinated by the different types of people out there and how their mannerisms and their voices and their face could all contort to make them them? Yes. I loved that stuff, but I didn't know how to make money at that. And I thought to get on television, because I'm not a good actress, I got to be on TV with the news. That's so sad too. I was a fake news reporter too. And that's why I was sad. So, what were you doing before life got complicated? Maybe it was when you were a kid, maybe you were a teenager, maybe you were in college, but what were the things that you did that you lost complete track of time? Maybe it was painting, maybe it was writing poetry, maybe it was telling stories. It could be anything. But you know that space in your life when you just felt joy and you were carefree. That person is still in you. I don't care how old you are. And you have permission to get her out and play again. So let's talk about that. In order for you to be intentional with this, you're going to have to make a to-be list. Not a to-do list, a to-be list. I did this. Every night before I went to bed, I would write out my prayers, like I was journaling, and then I would write down these questions every night to make sure I was doing it. Because you see, you don't have to wait and do things to become the person you want to be. You can make those decisions right this day. Tonight you can do this. So, who do you want to be? What kind of mother do you want to be? What kind of wife do you want to be? What kind of daughter do you want to be? Friend, how do you want to show up every day? What would that person do? What decisions would she make? What would she say yes to and what would she say no to? Where would you be? Where would you be living? Where is your happy place? And I'm not talking about a mansion. You guys, do you know where my happy place is? It's in my laundry room. In the house my mother and father-in-law built when my husband was 4. It's my happy place. But before all this, we were buying land we couldn't afford. I was making house plans in my head that we would never afford because I had to impress people. Because I can remember telling my friend Bridget this, crying on the way home from work when I worked at Channel 4. Bridget, these people are coming to my house and they think it's going to be big and fancy because I'm on the news and I make it look like I'm a big and fancy person, but I'm not. I live in a ranch-style house that was built in the 80s. What are they going to think? I would never have people at my house because of this. I know this sounds ridiculous to most people, but this was how I lived. It was miserable. Where do you want to be? If you didn't care what people thought of you, where would your happy place be? And then the next question is, what would you be doing in that happy place? Back to my laundry room. I make videos and I put on wigs and I act like different people and I make money at it. Because I decided to stop caring what people thought. I decided to put my family and my health first, and I needed to make my life really simple to do that. So I decided to start a business in my laundry room. Now, you don't need to start a business, but how are you going to make the decisions to give you the free time to find your happy place, to do what lights you up? And then, here's the kicker, how are you going to take that unique thing that you love to do and that you're good at and use it to connect to other people? Does it mean you make money at it? It means you connect to other people who haven't figured this out yet, who are going to be attracted to you and all of your weirdness because you're going to give them permission to be all out them. This is not a one-man show. I mean, I make it look like a one-man show, but it's not a one-man show. It's a one-man show, meaning it's all you. But then God comes in and finds the people to help you figure out this real you and to help you help the people who need you, uniquely you. So, back to play. My friend Tim Azell, he has this saying, we are most like God intended us to be when we are at play. I didn't understand what he meant by that. We started the show, and yes, I could be a little bit weird me, but what I love about our story, I don't know if y'all know Tim. Y'all know Tim? Who doesn't know Tim? Tim worked at the competing TV station when I was at Channel 4, he was at Channel 2. We knew of each other. We were not friends at all. And then God put us together, and we became like best friends. And he was the one. He was my friend, because he really doesn't care what people think, who let me be me. He was weirder than me. It was amazing. And that's what he does. You answer God by saying, all right, I'm not going to be the control freak anymore. You tell me what to do. Or better yet, you just tell me to move, and I will move. And I don't have to know what the next step is. Coming from an OCD perfectionist control freak, that is scary, but it is possible, because all of a sudden I just had this sense of lightness. Like, he's got me, so I'm just gonna do the things that don't make sense, and I'm gonna follow my curiosity, knowing that God's leading me to where I'm supposed to go. I didn't plan on starting a video coaching business in my laundry room. That was not the plan. I just said, I like being in my laundry room, and I like creating characters and doing video and helping people with video and doing TikToks. I didn't have a game plan. But here's what else happens. You follow your curiosity, and then God places the people in your life who are going to support you and help you take that next step. Like my friend Tim, like my friend Kristen, who worked at Channel 4 with me, and we never had a conversation because we didn't like each other. Now we're like best friends. It's amazing what will happen when you tap into the real you, and the real people for you start to surface. Okay, I told y'all I played with video a little bit. So I'm going to show you one of my videos, one of my masterpieces, but I want to show you this because there's the real you, and then there's the other parts of you. So I'm trying to be all of them right now, but I have the business me, I have the perfectionist me. She's never going to completely go away. I have the people pleaser me. I'm pretty good at keeping her in a corner these days, but she likes to rear her head sometimes. And then there's the real me, who's like really hard to control sometimes. So this will look goofy. And you don't have to do this like I do it. You could journal instead. But when you figure out all the little pieces and parts of you, and then the real you that God made, right? And you start to like treat them as separate beings.
Wanted to let you know from here on out, Wanted to let you know from here on out, the real me will be on video.
We'll lose followers.
She is weird.
She did well on that other account. That wasn't business related.
It could hurt your credibility.
We will not stand out if we just give tips. Real me, you can come out now.
Let's get started. I've got 6 scripts for 6 skits this week and plenty of wigs to go around.
Yeah. And there she is. So, my assignments for you. I hope that you took screenshots of these. If you didn't, just message me and I will send them to you. But these are great ways for you to figure out who you are, but also I find it's a great blueprint to help your kids stay true to who they are. And life gets way more fun when you stop caring what other people think and you start tapping into who God intended for you to be from the get-go. He knew life was going to get complicated. He was ready for that. That's why he put all the people in place to help us find our way. Thank you. I've got to go take care of real me now.